And we're live.
Yeah, player. What's good, people? It's your boy Icarus Gray.
And it's your homeboy WordPlay TJ.
And this is the No Rhyme or Reason podcast, where we talk about everything.
Everything for no reason at all.
We back, players.
Yeah, and today is the 30th anniversary of Southernplayalisticadillacmuzik, an album by the duo Outkast.
Hey.
The debuted in April 26, 1994. What we're going to do today, and rest in peace to Rico Wade, Organized Noise helped produce this album. Rico Wade just passed away recently and had a private homegoing with individuals in the industry and close family. We're doing this in celebration of Rico and his work, but also celebration of Outkast. And this is the first time that Icarus Gray is over here listening to this album in depth, in full. I've heard it many of times, and so I would love for us to do this continue to do this series where we introduce this lyrical rapper to new albums. So we appreciate you. We're going to get right into it. And let's start with the intro, which is called Peaches Intro.
So
how you feel?
Here's my first thought. Most of y'all don't really understand how Southern people talk. The best representation to me that most people have probably seen is the way Foghorn Leghorn talks. And people have been like doing this thing where these memes have been popping up of him like in different scenes talking to people. And it sounds the most like how Southern people talk, like tighter than that booty. What's so surprising about it is you feel like you know Peaches, you know?
She's the homie.
She's the homie.
She's the chick that's always hanging around the studio.
Yeah, or she's like your auntie or somebody that you go and talk to. She's the candy lady. Like she sounds like that person that you talked to her before. Like everybody know Peaches. Man, go on down there and get some candy from Peaches.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. So
well,
yeah,
you know about the name Peaches, so. But Outkast is iconic about for having these great intros, these great skits that include women's voices and women's dialogue in their albums. And so this is a staple, a classic, and I feel like this is the origin of that trope or that trend.
Yeah.
So next is my intro to let you know.
My surprise in this is like, well, not so much that I'm surprised because Outkast has been Outkast, but it's surprising to know how much of themselves they were way before, I guess, their completed versions or whatever their mature versions now. They were so topical. To be so Southern and lyrical, being able to hear what they're saying clearly, using our Southern drawl and vernacular, but also still having that double time or sometimes triple time, depending upon how they're going, is immaculate.
Yeah, so I think what this does is best introduce Dre and Big Boy's style. And what it does is highlight how like special their rap style is and how skilled they are at. They're not rhyming necessarily in a specific pocket. They're not following the beat. They are hitting just about every single rhythm that you can think of.
Yeah.
That's a part of their story. They used to run laps around the block and memorize their rhymes as a part of that exercise, so they could have the stamina to withstand the cadences that they use. Next song is "Ain't No Thang." When it came in, that snare.
People's biggest Nas critique is his beat choices. You cannot say that about Outkast. Nuts. Like, it's insane to hear something that is so modern relevant to me because it doesn't sound dated. The beat don't, to me.
Yeah, the whole track doesn't sound dated. So I was talking about the mix and the master. Like some of these songs are recorded after they got their deal.
Mm-hmm. So you can tell, and I like that. I like that there was so much strength in the demo that they put together that there wasn't a change. it's very interesting to hear this album and hear this like just good music, bro.
Yeah.
Like 94 was crazy.
The next one is an interlude called Welcome to Atlanta.
What a play is playing. There's something about a flight interlude or intro to a song that will always take me to a place of like, yep, this is what I should do. Like, I don't know why. Like, a matter of fact, I recently did one on a song. It's just basically the same thing. If you look to your left, there's this. If you look to your right, there's this. And it's like, it's just classic.
Up next is our title track, southernplayalisticadillacmuzik. It's
so crazy to know, like, creating music and creating the sounds and creating these cohesive thoughts and this cohesive feeling of pimp music. And when you think about pimps in that era, when you're thinking about like Dolomite and thinking about
like blaxploitation,
the Mac, blaxploitation, like there was so much smoothness in how they would talk in the slick way that they spoke. Outkast does that, but with a high level of lyricism and intelligence about what they're talking about. Sometimes when they get that alternative hip hop moniker, I think it's because it's so smooth it don't feel threatening to you, and some of it should.
You don't know these boys are about that life.
Yeah, because you don't. It's so smooth. They just
It's charming to a degree that disarms you.
Yes, exactly.
But you don't know
Southern charm.
You really should be. You really should be on the defense. So next up is Call It Wild. Let's go ahead and take a listen.
The craziest part about this to me, in terms of like listening to Andre's verse or whatever, right, is I love how they keep the.
What do you mean by
the breaths? So he takes like the breaths, like, but he makes it, or at least the mix, however they did it, he made it melodic. I'm trying to find words, but it's hard to articulate the brand of lyricism that's going on. It's kind of just that the situationalism of what he's talking about. So, you know, he's writing this verse probably around the time that he was deciding before he dropped out. Or after, or deciding that he would. He's writing this story about that decision and all of these things that he's trying to do. And Andre's verses are always so poignant to an experience when you break them down. Like when you go back, when you listen to, whether it's like even the experiences on Miss Jackson, you get this actual experience of like how difficult it is when you're young and all of a sudden y'all out here doing what you're doing. Now you got a baby. Now you're trying to figure this stuff out. And he speaks from the perspective of what it was in that moment. And it captures, like, it's like he is a living time capsule in terms of the way he talks. So it gives you that experience without having to be there. And that's my biggest takeaway from that.
Next record is Players Ball. Yeah,
it was this song that made me remember that Sleepy Brown is also part of Organized Noise. And this, like, dog. Now, this song I know. Just because, like, if no matter what, like you said, that promotion like went around everywhere, and for me to even know, like, that chorus, shows like the impact and the reach that Players Ball had. It just feels like celebration. It feels like a pool hall. It feels just cool. And I keep saying smooth and I keep saying pimp, but it's Southern Playalistic Cadillac music. Like, it sounds like the music that you playing in the lac, that you just rolling around, windows down, one arm out the window, one arm on the steering wheel, like just rolling. Like, you either rolling around, rolling something up, but it's Southern. Like, give me, an Arnold Palmer, give me,
Not the Arnold Palmer. We're going to keep it cooking, and we're going to listen to a song called Claimin True. So let's go ahead and take a listen to that.
That's how I pay my dues. I want to leave. That's how it leaves.
Nah, that wasn't Big Boy. That was Sir Lucius Left Foot. That was Daddy Fat Sax. Man, Big Boy is so underrated to me. And I know that that's because of how highly rated 3 Stacks is. This is not to me, it's not a Little Brother situation.
You mean Little Brother the group or
Little Brother the group, yeah.
Okay.
A lot of times people give Pooh so much crap sometimes about like not being lesser, but not being as lyrical. Whereas this is like, it just depends on what you're listening for.
Yeah.
Because the slickest talker ever in the world for me is between E40 and Big Boy. Just because everything they say it's just a pimp talking. When he gets in that Sir Lucius left with that Daddy Fat Sax pocket, I don't think it's too many people or anybody really that can touch him because it's velvet. This is authentically the way he lives, the way he goes about his business, the way he handles things. You feel that intimidation factor, but you also feel like the smoothness and the clarity of his thoughts.
So the next one is an interlude called Club Donkey Ass. So let's see what that's about.
Just go get 2 of your friends and tell the DJ to play something long and slow.
Why do I feel like I'm watching House Party or not School Days, but Class Act? Like just any kid and play anything is what I feel like I'm watching.
Yeah, this entire album actually feels like a day in the life, right?
Yeah, and like a lot of Ludacris's interludes have that day in the life, like calling a girl, seeing if folks are gonna come over, just that feeling.
Next up is Funky Ride.
NSFW warning if you're at work. There was a time when like literally like just moaning sounds were a standard on a lot of records. Well, the most memorable ones are always like Atlanta people to me currently, because I think about like on Confessions or not Confessions, 8701. Again, it's like looking into the future. Because this is what they stay. This is what they growed as, like in that that soulful like chorus, like using Sleepy Brown, Scar, Andre when he does choruses, Big Boy when he does some choruses, Idlewild, like all of that. You can hear the inception of that in that record.
Yeah, so this is essentially one of those tracks, and they do this a lot where they highlight organized noise on one song, and then coming up we will get a highlight of Goody Mob. So the next one is a new interlude, Flim Flam.
Like if you ain't never experienced somebody trying to sell you some fakeness that they done slid off somebody or stole from somewhere, or like the funniest thing is I used to work at a pawn shop, and so this is what this reminds me of. So you would have a lot of people that would come in with these really heavy chains that they done bought for $20 off of somebody in a gas station. I'm trying to get back home to my family, or we trying to get gas to get back home. And like, fam, all they had to do was walk down here to the pawn shop. If it was real and if it was this weight, they would have been able to get back home, get a hotel, eat, and some more stuff. So it's funny to kind of like hear that and hear Gip and all of them. Like, bro, shout out to Goody Mob. Yeah, just shout out to Goody Mob.
And speaking of them, we're gonna listen to Get Up, Get Out.
Yes,
featuring Goody Mob.
Woo! One of the best CeeLo verses ever, bro. Like, point blank period. It's also crazy to see this CeeLo and know who CeeLo is now. Like, you wouldn't be like, big huge pop megastar. No, there's no way I would have listened to this and been like,
he's gonna be that.
He's gonna go and do that.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and take your suggestion. Let's skip to Andre's for it.
All right.
Now the best verse on it is CeeLo's, but that 3 Stacks verse is listen.
Again, it's the realism, right?
Yeah, man, it's the realism.
Rolling like roly-polies.
It's the cadence. It's the cadence that like informs so many different styles. Seeing the effect of Rakim, seeing the effect of the different changes, and seeing like everybody start to formulate their unique styles relative to where you stayed.
Right.
Like how Atlanta sounds so distinctively different from Texas music. That's just what that reminds me of. This song, like no matter what, like I knew this song. And had listened to this one like a lot.
Next up is True Dat interlude.
Death to the fakers. Peace out.
I love how Outkast made everybody feel like a member of Outkast. Even though it's only two of them. It's just Andre Benjamin and Andre Patton.
But I think this is the thing that starts the wheels turning towards, or at least labeling an alternative hip hop, right?
Yeah.
Because
I can see
of that Outkast sort of sensibility. So if you're an outcast, whether it be in society overall, in the community as it is, so oftentimes people that resonate with music like this are outcasts to begin with. And I think that's part of alternative hip hop as a genre defined today.
I also think it's because they took all of the foundation of hip hop, so the foundational sounds in different ways, and imbued it with the South. It wasn't like it was gritty but smooth. There's a difference between like New York hip hop, West Coast hip hop, which like there's a level of, you hear California when you hear West Coast music. You hear New York, you hear gritty. Southern music sounds inviting in the way that we are as a people.
Next up, Crumblin Erb. That's a really great. It's a really great hook,
bruh. So I'm listening to this album and I'm thinking about like the building blocks for what Outkast did, not for the region as a whole. In terms of, the South got something to say. In terms of like really stamping Southern music to that next level of its identity is something that I appreciate.
Next up is
Hootie Hoo.
No, it couldn't be me. Not me.
Hootie Hoo. Shout out to Broadway Joe again. Like, is that where he got that from?
I don't know.
I wonder.
That can't be. He was on the airways. For folks that don't know, because not everybody that listens to this is from Arkansas.
Yeah.
Broadway Joe, he's a
radio jockey,
long-standing radio host, program director for Power 92 Jams in Little Rock, Arkansas. And one of his phrases is, "Hootie Hoo!
What's up, our people? This your homeboy Broadway Joe."
For those that know, you know. So next one is D.E.E.P. So no acronym, right? Like normal, like acronym songs is usually like something that's revealing something, like, just language that ain't always safe for work.
Andre is he one of them ones, bro. I don't know if people understand like the mental gymnastics it takes to write a lyrical song. And it's not like, I don't know, like construction or something like that, but I'm just trying to think of something like comparison.
Paper, the work.
Yeah.
I just wanted to throw you off for a second.
But it's like it's like solving a Rubik's Cube in a lot of ways, because you're trying to find all of these different pieces, whether it's alliteration, whether it's a simile, all these different things, the onomatopoeia in terms of how you want to articulate a vision. And kind of like what we said earlier, Three Stacks in this song always has this realism while always having a surrealism at the same time.
Last track on this is the Players Ball reprise. So like I said, this was a big marketing thing where Players Ball was important to the launch of this album. And so they did two versions of it. So let's listen to the reprise.
Something in me feels like this was the original version.
Yeah.
Like, and then they just kind of made some changes because of like how inviting it sounded. Like you can still hear like a little bit of the chime. And I think somebody came in and was like, this can sound like this.
Yeah, I think what your theory that they reworked this record like took the bass line, revamped it, and then built on top of it. I can definitely see that.
But overall, I can see why this is a classic album, and I can also just see the talent, man. They just continuously like reinvent themselves. They take that Earth, Wind, and Fire, all of this soulful music, and turn it into hip hop that is so unique and hard to describe to people if you weren't like there or weren't around the Southern Playalistic Cadillacmuzik, ATL and Stank on Ya, like the meteoric rise, Outkast clothing, the way their videos began to be. Like, this is probably the most like normal, if you would, in terms of like standard that their videos got. Cause from ATLiens on, like, it just starts to take this artistic style that is like, that made like a metaphor of Southern living, and made like a metaphor of the different songs that they were living. It kind of felt like Mad Max Fury Road sometimes, or Mad Max in general, I should say. And I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed this. I knew more of the songs than I thought I would, which shows just how impactful they are. If you never actually owned or listened to an album, but you know a lot of the songs, to me, that always speaks to the quality of the song, the quality of the album itself, the quality of how the label and people put out the singles. 30 years ago, this still sounds like something that's like a good listen. Like, it does not sound, I mean, it sounds dated in a certain way, but not dated in a way that you can't roll around vibing to this.
You mean dated in a way where you can't take it out?
We appreciate y'all for hanging with us for this classic album review. 30 years ago, this album came out as of this recording. And also rest in peace to Rico Wade. And we appreciate all you did for hip hop and, you know, Atlanta culture. We'll see you in the next piece. A 1 and a 2 and peace.